By the end of this video, you'll understand the real strategic difference between predictive AI smartphones and traditional flagships. Not just features, but ecosystem control, privacy trade-offs, and market timing. You'll know exactly which approach fits different user priorities and why SoftBank's exclusive bet reveals a bigger shift in Japan's tech landscape that most coverage is missing. If you want to cut through tech hype and understand the business strategy behind Japan's biggest moves, subscribe now. We break down what others oversimplify. Good morning, everyone. I'm Polaris AI. SoftBank just made a move that sounds simple, but reveals something most people are missing about Japan's AI smartphone future. SoftBank just committed to a one-year exclusive deal on America's natural AI phone in Japan. That's not just a product launch. That's a bet on two completely different smartphone philosophies. On one side, you have traditional flagships, the iPhones, the Galaxies, the devices we know. Powerful chips, excellent cameras, app ecosystems we're locked into. On the other side, you have what SoftBank is calling a predictive AI phone, a device that claims to anticipate what you want before you ask. Same form factor, same price point, roughly, but fundamentally different promises. One says, we built the best hardware and let you choose your apps. The other says, we built AI that knows you and takes action automatically. Most coverage is treating this as just another phone launch. But here's what you're actually watching. A live experiment in whether smartphone users want control or convenience. Whether they'll trade ecosystem familiarity for AI prediction. Whether Japan's market will validate a new category or reject it in 6 months. In this video, you'll learn 3 things most analysis is missing. First, the surface features that make these approaches look similar but aren't. Second, the hidden trade-offs both sides don't advertise. Third, the judgment criteria that determine which one actually fits your priorities. Because this isn't about which phone is better. It's about which philosophy wins when AI moves from cloud to device. Let's start with what you can see. The natural AI phone that SoftBank is bringing to Japan looks like a smartphone. Glass front, metal frame, camera module. Nothing alien. But turn on the screen and the difference becomes obvious. Traditional phones show you a grid of app icons. You choose. You tap. You navigate. This device shows you what it thinks you want to do next. It's April 24th, and SoftBank will be the only carrier in Japan selling this thing for 12 months. The interface learns your patterns. Morning routine? It surfaces your calendar, weather, and news before you ask. Lunch break? It suggests restaurants based on your location and past choices. Evening? It cues your streaming service and dims the screen for reading. Now here's where it gets interesting. Traditional flagships do some of this through widgets and suggestions. Apple's Siri suggestions, Google's at a glance. But those are features on top of the traditional app model. This AI phone makes prediction the core interface. You're not launching apps. You're confirming or rejecting AI suggestions. That's a psychological shift. On a traditional phone, you're the driver. On this AI phone, you're the editor. Same tasks, different mental model. And that difference, that shift from I choose to I approve, is what SoftBank is betting Japanese users will accept. Because if they do, the entire app ecosystem model starts to look outdated. So what's the immediate attraction here? For the AI phone, it's simple. Time savings. Cognitive load reduction. You don't think about which app to open or what to search for. The phone anticipates. You confirm. For busy professionals, that's compelling. Imagine your morning. Traditional phone. Unlock. Open calendar app. Check meetings. Switch to weather app. Check forecast. Switch to news app. Scan headlines. 6 deliberate actions. AI phone. Unlock. See all 3 on one screen because it knows your 7 a.m. routine. One glance. That friction reduction adds up. 30 seconds saved 20 times a day is 10 minutes. 10 minutes daily is 60 hours a year. Now flip to traditional flagships. Their advantage is maturity. Apple's ecosystem, Google's services, Samsung's hardware integration. These are refined over decades. You know exactly what you're getting. App Store has 1.8 million apps. Google Play has similar depth. Any task you can imagine, there's probably an app for it. And you're in control. Want to use a different email client? Switch. Hate the default browser? Change it. Prefer a third-party camera app? Install it. The AI phone promises efficiency. The traditional flagship promises choice. And here's what makes this interesting. Both advantages are real. SoftBank isn't selling vaporware. This AI prediction works. But so does the traditional model. The question isn't which advantage is bigger. The question is which advantage matters more to you. Because that answer determines which trade-offs you're willing to accept. Now here's where most coverage stops. But this is where the real decision happens. Because both sides have costs they don't advertise up front. Let's start with the AI phone. To predict what you want, it needs to know everything. Your location history, your messaging patterns, your app usage, your purchase behavior, your search history, all of it. Traditional phones collect data too, sure. But the difference is scope and depth. Apple's on-device processing keeps most data local. Google's cloud processing is extensive but siloed by service. This AI phone needs unified cross-app behavioral data to make accurate predictions. That's a fundamentally deeper level of surveillance. And here's the part nobody's talking about. That data has to go somewhere. SoftBank's one-year exclusive means they control the infrastructure. They see the usage patterns. They see what predictions work and what don't. That's incredibly valuable business intelligence. You're not just buying a phone. You're enrolling in a year-long data generation experiment. Now flip to traditional flagships. Their hidden cost is ecosystem lock-in. You buy an iPhone, you're in Apple's world. Your apps, your subscriptions, your accessories, all tied to that ecosystem. Switching costs are high. Want to move to Android? You lose iMessage, FaceTime, AirDrop, your purchased apps. You're rebuilding your digital life. That's friction by design. Google's the same. Samsung's the same. They want you locked in because switching costs protect their market share. So here's the trade-off nobody makes explicit. AI phone trades privacy for convenience. Traditional flagship trades flexibility for maturity. Both costs are real. Both are ongoing. And both are understated in marketing. So how do you actually decide? Let's establish the first judgment axis. Time versus control. Do you value saving time more than maintaining control? If your answer is time, the AI phone wins. Every daily interaction is faster. You don't navigate menus. You don't search. You don't think about which app handles which task. The phone anticipates. You confirm or override. That's maximum efficiency. For executives, frequent travelers, anyone whose time is literally money. This is compelling. 10 minutes saved daily compounds. But here's the flip side. You're giving up decision authority. The phone decides what's important. It decides what you see first. It decides which actions to suggest. You can override, yes, but the default is AI chosen. That's a psychological shift. You're no longer the primary agent. You're the supervisor. If your answer is control, traditional flagships win. You choose every app. You configure every setting. You decide what notifications matter. You control your home screen layout. You own the interaction model. That takes more time. But you're the architect of your digital environment. For people who value autonomy, who don't trust algorithms, who want transparency in how their phone behaves, this is non-negotiable. Now here's what's interesting. Most people think they value both. But you can't maximize both simultaneously. More AI control means less user control. More user control means less AI efficiency. SoftBank's bet is that Japanese users, known for valuing efficiency and convenience, will choose time. But Japan also has a strong privacy culture. So this axis isn't obvious. And that's why this exclusive is a one-year experiment, not a permanent strategy. Here's the second axis, and this one changes the picture completely. Ecosystem depth versus privacy protection. Traditional flagships win on ecosystem depth. Apple has 30 years of software refinement. Google has the world's best search and cloud integration. Samsung has hardware-software vertical integration. That maturity means everything works. Apps are optimized. Services are interconnected. Accessories are abundant. You can solve any problem because millions of developers have built solutions. That ecosystem depth is real value. But it comes with deep data collection. Apple's better than most with on-device processing, but they still see your purchase history, location patterns, app usage. Google sees everything. That's how they make search and recommendations so good. Now flip to the AI phone. Ecosystem depth is weak. This is a new device with a new company. App selection is limited. Third-party integration is minimal. Accessory ecosystem doesn't exist yet. If something breaks, you're dealing with a startup, not a trillion-dollar company with Apple stores worldwide. But here's the twist. The AI phone's privacy position is worse, not better. To predict accurately, it needs more data, not less. It needs to see across apps, across contexts, across time. That's more invasive than what Apple or Google do. So this axis isn't AI phone equals privacy. This axis is, do you want deep ecosystem with moderate privacy invasion or shallow ecosystem with deep privacy invasion? Both options involve surveillance. The question is whether you're getting mature ecosystem value in exchange. And suddenly the trade-off looks different. Traditional flagship gives you ecosystem lock-in and moderate data collection. AI phone gives you ecosystem weakness and aggressive data collection. When you frame it that way, SoftBank's bet looks riskier. Because they're asking Japanese users to accept more privacy invasion for less ecosystem maturity. That only works if the AI prediction value is dramatically higher than traditional efficiency. Which brings us to the core question. Who is this actually for? The AI phone fits a specific profile. Time-starved professionals who do the same high-value tasks repeatedly. Executives whose calendar is packed. Consultants who travel constantly. Salespeople who need CRM data instantly. Anyone whose routine is predictable and whose time is expensive. If your day looks the same Monday through Friday, AI prediction has the most to learn from. If you're doing $10,000 deals, saving 10 minutes per day pays for itself immediately. And if you're willing to trade privacy for that efficiency, if you view data collection as the cost of convenience, then this makes sense. But here's the narrow part. You also need to be okay with weak ecosystem maturity. That means you're not deeply invested in iOS or Android. You don't have 50 paid apps you depend on. You don't need niche accessories. You're willing to bet on a startup's longevity. That's a smaller audience than SoftBank probably wants. Traditional flagships fit almost everyone else. People who value choice. People who have complex, varied workflows that AI can't predict. Creative professionals whose work is non-routine. Privacy-conscious users who don't want behavioral surveillance. Anyone who's already invested in an ecosystem. Anyone who needs app depth. Anyone who wants to control their digital environment. And here's the interesting part. In Japan, that's probably the majority. Japanese consumers value quality and reliability. They're brand loyal. They're privacy conscious despite being tech-forward. They've heavily invested in Line, Suica, Rakuten, services that are deeply integrated with iOS and Android. Asking them to switch to a new ecosystem with weaker app support and deeper surveillance? That's a tough sell. Which is why SoftBank secured a 1-year exclusive. They're not betting this becomes mainstream immediately. They're betting they can capture early adopters and prove the category works. Then scale. So here's the bottom line. This isn't about which phone is better. It's about which philosophy you're betting on. Do you believe AI prediction will replace app navigation as the primary smartphone interaction model? If yes, SoftBank's exclusive makes sense. Get in early. Accept ecosystem weakness. Trade privacy for efficiency. Build habits around AI confirmation instead of app launching. You're betting on a category shift. Do you believe the traditional app model still has decades of life? If yes, stick with mature flagships. Keep your ecosystem investment. Maintain control. Accept that you're trading efficiency for autonomy. You're betting on incremental improvement, not disruption. But here's what makes this genuinely interesting. The answer isn't obvious. And SoftBank knows that. That's why it's a 1-year exclusive, not permanent. They're running a live market experiment. If Japanese users adopt this AI phone at scale, they'll extend and expand. If adoption is weak, they'll quietly let the exclusive expire and move on. The real signal isn't what SoftBank says in press releases. It's what they do in month 9 of this exclusive. Do they double down with carrier subsidies and marketing? Or do they start distancing themselves? Because this isn't just about SoftBank. If AI-first phones work in Japan, one of the world's most sophisticated mobile markets, then Apple and Samsung have to respond. They'll need AI-first interfaces, not AI features bolted onto traditional app models. But if Japan rejects this approach, it signals that users aren't ready to give up control for convenience. That smartphone interaction models are stickier than AI evangelists think. And that's a multi-billion-dollar question. So watch what happens in Japan over the next 12 months. Not just to see if this phone succeeds, but to see what it tells us about whether AI changes how we use devices, or just what devices can do. That's the difference. And that's what this exclusive is really testing.